No, it's the
No?
same mic. It's
Okay.
just I got to be
No,
close.
I meant this.
Oh. No,
This.
no, it's all right.
Okay.
But I'll do. I'm sorry. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Our numbers are a little thin, so let's try that again. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
You got to compensate for the 12 or 15 people who aren't here. Now we do have a good group on Zoom tonight. Shabbat shalom to all of you.
Shabbat shalom.
Yeah, you're good. You're good-looking crowd. As far away as Missouri, you're coming. I see. What are we doing? Well, everybody knows this song. All right. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam.
Ya da 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 bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, hey Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam.
And my personal sort of ritual required Shabbat song, Yidi Nefesh, page 20 or 128. Now, that depends on the book, right? You're not going to find it. It's not a magical song. Yidi Nefesh Av HaRachaman.
Yedi nefesh avarachaman b'shok avdecha el tzorcha b'shok avdecha yelalai lai lai el tzorcha yarutz avdecha כמו היה ישתחווה יללי לי אל מוהדרך ירוץ עבדך כמו היה ישתחווה אלי יללי לי אל מוהדרך.
And candle lighting. We have a candle lighter in the house. Page 2 or 121, if you need the bracha. Sorry? Sure.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahalik ner shel Shabbat. Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel
Shabbat.
Amen. Romamu.
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishachavu lechar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishachavu lechar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishachavu lechar kodsho. Oh, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishachavu lehar kodsho.
Ascribe to Adonai, O divine beings, ascribe to Adonai glory and strength. Ascribe to Adonai the glory of God's name. Bow down to Adonai, majestic in holiness. The voice of Adonai is over the waters, the God of glory thunders, Adonai over mighty waters. The voice of Adonai is power, the voice of Adonai is majesty. The voice of Adonai breaks cedars. Adonai shatters the cedars of Lebanon. God makes Lebanon skip like a calf, Sirion like a young wild ox. Page 20, 138, Lecha Dodi.
We're going to be doing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And yeah, let's go. Ready. Lai, lecha dodi likra kala, yalalai, b'nei Shabbat, nikabela, yai, lecha dodi likra kala, yalalai, b'nei Shabbat, nikabela, shamor v'zachor, beviu echad, Ishmi'anu elam yochad, Adonai echad, v'shmu echad, l'shem ultiferet v'litila, lecha dodi likra kala, yalalai, b'nei Shabbat, nikabela, lecha dodi likra kala, yalalai, b'nei Shabbat, nikabela, likrat Shabbat, lechu enelcha, ki mekor habracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof maaseh b'machshavati la, lecha dodi likra kala, yalalai, b'nei Shabbat, nikabela, yai, לחדותי לקראת כלה, יללי, 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 בני שבת לקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי בהורג קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני, לי חגלה. לחדותי לקראת כלה, יללי, 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 בני שבת לקבלה, לחדותי לקראת כלה, יללי, 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 בני שבת נקבלה. בואי ששלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובשולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לחדותי לקראת כלה, יללי, 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 בני שבת לקבלה, לחדותי לקראת כלה, יללי, 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 בני שבת נקבלה.
Please be seated. Can you all hear me? Not well. Then can you hear me now? All right, I got to do the Rolling Stones thing. I've got to talk right and put my mouth on the mic. Okay, because I said please rise twice and nobody stood up. Adonai is sovereign. God is robed in grandeur. Adonai is robed. God is girded with strength. The world stands firm. It cannot be shaken. Your throne, O God, stands firm from old. From eternity you have existed. The ocean sounds, Adonai. The ocean sounds its thunder. The ocean sounds its pounding. Above the thunder of the mighty waters, more majestic than the breakers of the sea, is Adonai, who is majestic on high. Your decrees are indeed enduring. Holiness befits your house, Adonai, for all times. Shalom Aleichem, page 24, 142.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malchei Amlachim, Akadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malchei Amlachim, Akadosh Baruch Hu. Shovel Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Malchun Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. ברכוני שלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. זכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. זכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. זכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Chatzi Kaddish, page 26, 144.
יקדל ויקדש שמי רבה,
Amen.
וילמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בעגלה בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה. ברכו לילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמיתם בעלמא ואמרו אמן.
Please rise. 28, 146. We praise the eternal God to whom our praise is due. We praise the eternal God to whom our praise is due now and forever.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Leolam, 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 Leolam Vaed. Yadadai, 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 yadadai.
Please be seated. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are a creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tsevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening.
ומעביר יום ולילה, ומבדיר ביום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאו שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני,
Baruch Shem.
המריב ערבים.
Please turn the page.
אהבת עולם בישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו, ובחלקנו נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ומצוותיך לעולם ועד. יחיינו לאורך ימינו, ובהם יגי יומם בלילה, יגי יומם בלילה. מאהבת אסיר ממנו לאור עמים, ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל.
We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect upon them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Hear, O Israel, the eternal is our God, the eternal is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Please rise.
Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Baruch Shem
Malchuto leolam vaed.
Please be seated. And every week when I call Carol Lee up, she looks surprised. I don't know why. Please come on up.
Okay, everybody chant with me, please. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meotecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha Hayom ala bavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvlechtecha v'derech, uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha, uv'shartam le'ot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot beinenecha. Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha laman tizkaru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Thank you, dear. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you this day. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I brought you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. Mi Chamocha, page 40 or 158.
Yai dai dai da dai da 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 dai yai dai dai da dai da 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 dai ya dai da dai da dai da 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 dai ya da dai da dai da 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 dai mi chamocha bali Adonai mi chamocha nehera b'kodesh nora tehiloto seifele nora tehiloto seifele מלכותך ובניך בוקע הים לפני משה ומרים זה לי ענו ואמרו זה לי ענו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד יאי לי לי יאי לי 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 יאי לי 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 יאי לי 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 יאי לי 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 ונאמר כי ודע אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מי החזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני
Baruch Shema.
גאל ישראל.
We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted but a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. Page 44, 162.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל או תהי לעולם או תהי לעולם או תהי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Prayer invites God's presence to let me try that again. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. Adonai, then open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. 46, 164, please rise.
Ananananana Adonai, Ananananana Sfatai Tiftach, Ananananana Ufi Yagid, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Ananananana Adonai, Ananananana Sfatai Tiftach, Ananananana Ufi Yagid, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Habibor Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיח ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, בחיי הכל אתה רב אב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, בחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים והופך עולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לך חיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום, יחללוך הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. Modim anachnu lach, sha'atahu Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu leolam va'ed. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors forever. So what is it that we have to give thanks for this evening? Anything? I'm going to walk down and hopefully a hand or two will go up. What are we thankful for this week? Oh, I got 2 hands. That's great. Okay, it's worth a walk. I mean, look, the weather was good. You know, we have this apartment with a balcony overlooking the golf course, you know, and every morning about 7:30, we're out there drinking cold brew. I mean, what could be wrong?
Well, I am thankful for the fact that college just recently started for me, and I needed something to do, and college is the answer. So I'm thankful for that.
I'd say if it's a choice between soap operas and college, I would go with college anytime. Well, good luck with that. Have a good semester. Yes, ma'am. Do I know you?
Mine is also college related. I am grateful that a spot opened up in a college class I wanted to take.
What class?
The class is World Religions.
Well, all right. We'll have what for to talk about.
Yes.
And you? What's your name again?
Jay. I'm thankful for my friend Owen and their parents for being able to share and care for me.
Good, wonderful. That's wonderful. And there was a hand over yonder, right? And in the back. All right. What's that? You're getting your steps in. Yeah, I'm getting my 10,000 steps in. That's true. Wendy, what can I do for you?
Mine is also college related because I started back at RCC this week. And I'm thankful that I have students that listen to me when I tell them things. Because I was talking to the other Wendy yesterday, and she said she had a student in her organic chemistry class, and she's teaching her students how to keep a proper lab notebook. And one student says, "Oh, that's okay. I had Dr. Gala for general chemistry. She taught me how to keep a lab notebook. I already know all this stuff."
Well, there you go. Wonderful. It's good when you get your words back correctly, even. Sometimes people come up to me and they said, "Rabbi, I liked what you said about blah, blah, blah," and I didn't say that.
Well, I just got my master's in law and dispute resolution, so I hope I'm done with education. Thank you.
Oh, but may you have many disputes to resolve. All right. Oh, yeah, Jory.
Hi, my daughter settled into her new place in Minneapolis and so far loves it. And she's getting ready for her internship, and my white blood cell count is up.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we want to hear about Minneapolis in February. That's the key. Summers in Minneapolis are glorious. Sholem Rav, you got it open? What page?
Yes. Shalom Rav on page 178 or page 60.
Sholem Rav.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'toch b'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Let's hear you. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Imru Amen. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imru Amen.
I'm sorry about that. So please, if you'll turn to the inside front cover of your Siddur, we will sing our prayer for healing. And tonight we bring to mind Gloria Mangus, Pamela Mangus, Judy Richmond, Glickle Sarah Bat Devora, Milka Gittel, Vicky Dix, Colton Wayne Whitaker, John Cruz, Dan Strauss, Darlene DeMason, Linda Stroman, Charlene Beck, Eddie Archibek, Dan Hantman, Tom Staig, Kerry Bardeen, Kenny Hayes, David Bartlett, Brian Kinman, Robin Mendez, and Dorothy Odson. To my left, any names care to mention? To my right? No names in the chat, although you got some nice compliments from the people on the Zoom screen.
You're very sweet. I do have a few. Gail Wolf,
Go ahead.
Brian Michael Antler, Arthur Garcia, and Sammy Noriega.
And his name is Ezra. They didn't remember your name. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Ezra Yaron. Thank you so much. Mi sheberach avoteinu Avraham, Yitzhak veYaakov Mi sheberach imotenu Sarav Rivka Leah veRachel May the one who bless our mothers May the one who blessed our fathers hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Bless the power of your healing. Bless the power of your hope. May our hearts be filled with understanding and strengthened by the power of your love. Bless the vision for tomorrow. Help us reach out to those in pain. May the warmth of your friendship ease a sorrow. Give us courage, give us faith, show us the way. Mi sheberach avoteinu, mi sheberach imotenu. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well.
Well, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I'm going to step out over here. Well, you're a good-looking crowd tonight. Shabbat Shalom. It's nice to see everybody. Those of you who have been coming regularly or even on again, off again since I've been here, I haven't always had this practice of beginning my sermon with some kind of a story or a joke, but as long as I can find good ones without too much trouble, and there's not an infinitude of good, clean Jewish jokes. Maybe sometime at the Oneg I'll share some of the less Bima-worthy ones with you. But the one I want to tell tonight, usually when I tell the joke, it doesn't have anything to do with whatever it is I want to talk about. Tonight, this story that I'm going to begin with fits right in with the Talmudic Agadah that I want to talk about. And in fact, as you'll see, undoubtedly the person who made the joke up was basing the joke on the Talmudic Agadah. But the way the joke works, it's funny. So there are these four rabbis who would get together on a monthly basis, have coffee or cake or lunch or what have you, and they would argue about this or that. So one particular day, they were arguing about this or that, and whatever the legal problem or political problem they were talking about, three of them agreed with each other, and the fourth rabbi of them was kind of like the odd person out. He was a man. He's the odd man out. And he's really firm about his opinion. He thinks he's right. So he says, you know, guys, if I'm right and God's on my side, let God show some kind of presence. And the sky gets dark right away. It's a big sunny day. It's a California day, sunny day. And they say, man, what does that mean, the other three? That's nothing. And the guy says, all right, God, you got to do a little better. And it starts to rain really hard. And the three other rabbis say, no, what is that? It's a lot of, it doesn't mean anything. And the fourth guy says, you really got to do it for me, God. And God says, the rabbi's name was Schwartz, so it's always Schwartz. He says, Rabbi Schwartz is right. And the other guys say, all right, now it's 3-2. I thought it was funnier than that, but all right. It's all right. But the joke fits in. The joke fits in with the story, and part of what I would want to do with you is not just retell this Talmudic Agadah, but I want to read it in its original, in translation, of course, because you get a little flavor of what an Agadah is. Now, by the way, if you don't know what an Agadah is at all, the Talmud is basically broken up into two kinds of discussions. One are the legal discussions, which are dominant, and then there are these stories, usually about rabbis of the time, in the centuries around which the Talmud is written. And the stories are usually fantastic. That is, in other words, they're supernatural or they're magical, and they always have something to say. You break them down, and they're all really interesting. So this is a discussion with a bunch of rabbis about whether a certain oven called an achnai is kosher or not. And I was looking at the text again, and the discussion doesn't lead to any particular conclusion. But there's a majority opinion, and there's Rabbi Eliezer. The problem with this oven is that it's coiled like a snake. And in that way, it's hard to clean sufficiently, or it's arguably hard to clean sufficiently, so it may not be kosher. You cook milk in it once, and you cook meat in it, whatever the issues are. And all but one rabbi are on one side, and they don't say which side, and Rabbi Eliezer is on the other side. So that's the setup for the story, much like the story I began with. So after failing to convince the rabbis logically, Rabbi Eliezer said to them, if the halakha, the Jewish law, right, and the halakha is in accordance with my opinion, this carob tree will prove it. And the carob tree was uprooted from its place 100 cubits, and some say 400 cubits. That's a cubit is 18 inches. The rabbi said to him, one doesn't cite halachic proof from the carob tree. Eliezer then said to them, if the halakha is in accordance with my opinion, the stream will prove it. And the water in the stream turned backward and began flowing in the opposite direction. They said to him, one doesn't cite halachic proof from a stream. Then Rabbi Eliezer said to them, if the halakha is in accordance with my opinion, the walls of the study will prove it. And the walls of the study leaned inward and began to fall. Rabbi Yehoshua scolded the walls and said to them, if Torah scholars are contending with each other in matters of halakha, what is the nature of your involvement in this dispute? The Gemara relates then, Gemara being a certain element within Talmudic discussion. The walls didn't fall because of the deference due Rabbi Yehoshua, but they didn't straighten because of the deference due Rabbi Eliezer. And they still remain standing, leaning rather. And I imagine that this is reflection on some reality, that in Jerusalem somewhere there's a study hall where the walls are bent. So then Rabbi Eliezer said to them, if the halakha is in accordance with my opinion, heaven will prove it. And a bat kol, a divine voice, emerged from heaven and said, why are you differing with Rabbi Eliezer, as the halakha is in accordance with his opinion in every place that he expresses an opinion? God's voice comes down, much like in the joke, and says, Eliezer is right. Rabbi Yehoshua stood on his feet and said, it is written, Lo bashamayim he, from Deuteronomy. The Gemara, it is not in heaven. Gemara asks, what is the relevance of this phrase, it is not in heaven, in this context? Rabbi Yeremiah says, since the Torah was already given at Mount Sinai, we do not regard a divine voice as you already wrote at Mount Sinai in the Torah after a majority to incline. So, Rabbi Natan, sometime later, encountered Elijah the prophet and said to him, what did the Holy One, blessed be he, do at that time when Rabbi Yehoshua issued his declaration? Elijah said to him, the Holy One, blessed be he, smiled and said, my children have triumphed over me. My children triumphed over me. So I need to do two things. Just in case the story itself needs a little overlay, I'm going to tell you what I think the story says. And then there's an overlay atop the overlay, which is why I wanted to tell this story in the first place. So the part about the disagreement is clear, I presume. Eliezer is one man against a majority, and he brings all kinds of miraculous events to happen in order to prove that God's very presence, God's very being is on his side. And finally, and after one thing after another, the carob tree, the stream, the wall, whatever, and the voice comes out and says, you guys are nuts. Eliezer is right. He's always right. And what do they say? They say, now it's three against two. They say, no. It says in the end of Deuteronomy, in a section that we read on Yom Kippur, Lo b'shamayim hi, it is not in heaven, meaning here, the law is not in heaven. The law is given from heaven unto earth, and not only is it given unto earth, but the Torah itself gives you guys a method by which you make your decisions. And whatever the decisions you make are, whether they are according to the way God would want them or not, they are the way they are because you have your courts, you have your system, you have your process, you have your method, and the method will prevail more times than not. And so, guy's walking down the road, and this is on his mind, and he runs into Elijah the prophet, who never dies, and he pops up all over the place in Jewish lore. And the guy says to Elijah, Eliyahu, what did God say? What did God do? And Eliyahu looks at him and says, he laughed. My children have defeated me. My children have defeated me. What does that mean? It means, I think, that God recognizes that these people have taken ownership of the process and the Torah that God gave them, and he trusts them, God trusts them to make decisions. And when he sees this kind of event happening, that even though Eliezer, by God's own opinion, is right, God is defeated, and he likes it. God likes the fact that that happened. So this is one of those great Talmudic stories that liberal Jews love to cite. They love to cite because it's a Talmudic story, in other words, from the very heart of the Orthodox tradition. They like to cite this story because what does it teach us? It teaches us, well, lo b'shamayim hi. And in fact, even the Deuteronomy clause, in the Deuteronomy, in the context in which that phrase comes in Deuteronomy, the text says, the law is not over the sea that you have to go across the sea to get it. The law is not in heaven that you should have to go up to the heaven and get it. Lo b'shamayim. Even in Deuteronomy, many centuries before the Talmud is written, it's not in heaven, but it's in your hands. And for us liberals, it's a very liberating kind of a notion. The Torah is in our hands. It's in our hands to work with spiritually, intelligently, responsibly, respectfully. But we don't have to sit around and wait for God to tell us whether our decisions in however we decide to develop our Jewish life on this planet, we don't have to wait for God to tell us whether we're right or wrong. And in fact, God will not tell us whether we're right or wrong. It's up to us to struggle with the material, struggle with history, struggle with God, and come to decisions that are as rational as we can make them, as spiritual as we can make them, and to make rules that we can live with, but are still deeply connected to the tradition. Now, if you read my Almost Weekly, I said something similar in that as well. It's our responsibility, our job, our privilege as liberal Jews to struggle with the tradition, but make the tradition ours and make the tradition into a phenomenon that we can live with. And that's what we do. That's what we do as liberal Jews. We do it a little differently, one stream to the other, but that's what we do if we want to take the tradition seriously. If we want to stand outside of the tradition, that's another story. But if we want to work in some way or other within the tradition, the Jewish tradition, we have that right and that opportunity. And we can feel good about what we do, and we can feel connected to ourselves and to our history and to God, even if we diverge seriously and often radically from the Jewish tradition that we inherited. Shabbat Shalom. If you'll turn now to the inside back cover, we'll do Aleinu. I need some ark openers up here, please. Oh, I beg your pardon. Have a seat. Have a seat. We have an anthem that we're going to do after this. I forgot.
If you're lost, you feel afraid, and you don't know what to say, then listen to our God. Is there a question on your mind? Is her answer hard to find? Then listen to our God. Listen with all your heart and soul, and with all of your might. Write them and learn them and teach them well, every morning and night. Close your eyes and listen. Quiet yourself, there's nothing to say. Stop all the chatter that gets in the way, and listen to our God. When the wind and the thunder finally disappears, there's still a voice that you will hear if you listen to our God. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Listen to our God. Listen to our God.
So that song was written by Doug Kotler, and you know who else, Betsy, wrote that song? Yes, you do. You don't know, but you know. Rabbi Jeff Marks, who at the time he wrote it was Rabbi Jeff Perry Marks. He's a good friend of mine in L.A. And something else you may not know, which I think is really terrific, and I don't believe I've ever seen another synagogue do this, but we pay royalties when we sing a song here. We get a list we get a list to the front office, and we actually pay royalties. I mean, it's pennies, but we pay royalties. So I texted Jeff today, and I said, "Have you ever got any royalties for this song?" And he said, "Never got a penny." So even though it's not a Jewish thing to do on Shabbat, I'm going to take up a collection afterwards, and we'll send it off to him. If I can collect, if I can, it's a joke. I'm not going to collect, but. Well, a few pennies more. It's very little that we send, but it's a quite respectful thing that we do. Lenu on the inside back cover, and now please come and open the ark for us. Please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים, ואלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, דת היום דבת היום, יהת היום והשבותה אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת, אין עוד, אין עוד. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. You know, you folks could do me a big favor. If you know you're supposed to be seated, you don't have to wait for me to tell you. And should it happen that you rise or sit down when you're not supposed to, guess what? Nothing happens. Nothing happens. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. This evening we remember Shloshim of Mark Feldstein, Chris Eliasson, Joel Arthur Held. We are observing the Yortzeit of Edward Berkowitz, Robert E. Campbell, Sophia Eisendorf, Jane Fishman, Marielle Miriam Fitzhugh, Gerson Ginsberg, Lillian Grokoff, Deborah Hodges, Joseph Lippau, Ida B. Needleman, Byron H. Ramanovsky, Rose Treiber, Gertrude Weiss, and Stephen Halbers. Zichronam livracha, may their memories all be for a blessing. We are on page 294, 598. Please rise. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divarach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman koriv v'yimeru. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach li'olam li'olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpo'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar v'yit alev v'yit halal shemei dekudesha burichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush birchata v'nechemata da'amiran v'yalama v'yimeru amen. Yehei shalom rabba min shamaya v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimeru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yal kol yoshvei tevel v'yimeru amen. May the one who makes peace in the highest of places make peace among us, among everybody in this poor beleaguered world of ours. And together we say, amen.
Amen.
Please be seated. Announcements, announcements, announcements.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
For the second week in a row, I've been asked to fill in and do the announcements, so it's a good thing I know where the microphone is. I am Jason Winston. I'm chair of our Religious Practices Committee. So the high holidays are around the corner, and you should have received an email with the services schedule and also forms for the Book of Memory and the New Year's greeting card fundraisers. If you did not get the email, please contact the office. We have extended the deadline for submitting the forms for the greeting card and or the Book of Memory until Tuesday, August 29th, which is the next day the office is open. So if you didn't get it, you'll have to call. So after 2 months of delightful sponsorship this summer, it is time we ask now for ONEG sponsors for the month of September. ONEGs not only facilitate conversation between congregants and guests, but also help fulfill our commandment to delight in Shabbat. ONEGs can be sponsored at a cost of $65, payable to the TBE Sisterhood. Please check the ONEG sign-up board, which is in the TBE lobby, or you can contact the temple office and they'll let you know what dates are available. The ONEG tonight is sponsored by Daniel Miller and Rocky Martinez, who are not here, but we'll have to thank them next time we see them. Does anyone else have any announcements for the Bima? All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Adon Olam, page 321, 625.
Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Le'eit Nasa, V'cheso Kol, Hazai Melech, Shemo Nikra, Ve'acharei, Hichlot HaKol, Levado, Imloch Nora, Vehu Haya, Vehu Hoveh, Vehu Yeh, Betifara. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yetziv Nivra Le'et Nasa Lecheso Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra E'acharei Hichlot HaKol Levado Imloch Nora Vehu Haya Vehu Hoveh Vehu Yeh Batifara Adon עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נעשה לחסוקו אזי מלך שמו נקרא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נעשה והפסקו אז הוא נקרא והוא אלי וחי גואלי בצור חבלי בצרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנקוסי ביום אקרא בידו על כדרוכי באינט אישן ואהירה והמרוכי כבייתי אדוני לי ולא יירא אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נעשה והפסוקו אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי יקלוט הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לעת נעשה והפסוקו אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי יקלוט הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה בתפארה והוא היה והוא הווה בתפארה. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Give me an A. Kol hanishama tehaleluya, hallelujah. Kol hanishama tehaleluya, hallelujah. Please rise. Kol hanishama tehaleluya, hallelujah. And most of you got it. Find a friend, a neighbor, a family member, somebody you like, someone you want to like. Nobody eats lunch alone. There's a lady back there. She needs a partner. We put our arms around each other. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless all of us. May God care for us, and may God teach us how to care for each other. May God's light shine down upon us and upon all the people of this earth. May God's presence always go before us, leading us into greater understanding of what it means to do Torah, be Jewish, following the law as we understand it, and building a world of peace, shalom, amen.
Amen.
Now, please have a seat. So if you just started college this week, please join me up here. If you just started college this week, join me up here. And if you got into a college class, world religions, join me up here. Let's see. Yeah, any year. I meant you. Come on. Come on down. Yeah, she's fine. Well, she's welcome. So you got to take the lid off. Okay. It's juice. It's not wine. If that's okay. It's just wine. I mean, just juice. Are you drinking? You're not a drink. You drinking?
No thanks, but thank you.
Oh, you got the mic. Okay, go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat korsho be'ahava uvratzon ilchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh b'reishit, ki hu yom techila למקרא קודש, זכר לציית מצרים, כי בנו ברכת ואותנו תדשת מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הלכתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. אמן. לחיים.
I turned my mic off, so I'm going to use my rabbi voice. I want to thank Ezra for the wonderful Chazanut he made. George for the keyboarding and guitar. But avoid the candles at all costs.
Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. B'tei avam. Grab a piece of bread. Here you go. I have to tell you, you can leave. All right, I will do that. Shabbat shalom.
Ready for Shabbat Shalom?